Gloria Gaither has long stood beside her husband, Bill, as more than just a partner in marriage. She has been the soulful heartbeat of gospel music itself. But today, with a voice that trembles and eyes filled with tears, she steps forward with a message that's both tender and deeply sobering. Gloria isn't just saying goodbye to the stage. She may be preparing to say farewell to all of us. What unfolded behind the scenes to bring her to this emotional crossroads? And why are fans around the world preparing for what may be the most poignant chapter in her incredible journey? For decades, Gloria Gaither has been far more than the wife of gospel music legend Bill Gaither. She has been the lyrical soul behind some of the most powerful and enduring songs in Christian music. As co-writer of countless beloved Gaither tunes and the poetic voice behind their most profound lyrics, Gloria has touched hearts across generations and continents. Her words have offered comfort, conviction, and hope in equal measure. Now, at 82 years old, Gloria has shared a heartfelt video message that marks a clear and emotional turning point. In a recent release from Gaither Music Group, she appeared visibly moved as she offered fans a tender thank you for decades of love, prayers, and unwavering support. "There comes a time," she began softly, her voice fragile with emotion, "when you feel a gentle tug on your heart, a sense that God is calling you to a quieter season." Though she never directly used the word retirement, the implication was unmistakable. Gloria is stepping away from public appearances and large events. She plans to spend more time with family, devoting herself to writing, quiet reflection, and the sacredness of still moments, an intentional shift from the high-energy rhythm of touring, performing, and ministry. But before the world knew her as a legendary lyricist or spiritual matriarch, she was simply Gloria Sickle, a bright, curious girl from Michigan. Born on March 4th, 1942, Gloria grew up in a home steeped in Christian values, education, and a deep respect for literature and music. She displayed a remarkable talent for language early on, showing a natural gift for poetry, writing, and thoughtful expression. After graduating high school, she attended Anderson University in Indiana, where she pursued a degree in English. It was during her time at Anderson that she crossed paths with a passionate young music teacher named Bill Gaither. At first, their relationship was purely professional. Bill had already begun to explore gospel music with his siblings in the Bill Gaither trio. But it wasn't long before a deeper connection, rooted in shared faith and creativity, began to form between them. They married in 1962, forging not only a life partnership, but a creative alliance that would shape the future of Christian music. In those early years, Gloria continued teaching English at Alexandria High School, while Bill devoted himself fully to music. But her gift for words couldn't stay in the background for long. As Bill wrote melodies, Gloria began crafting lyrics, honest, poetic, and rich with theological insight, that brought those tunes to life in a way that resonated with millions. Her defining moment as a lyricist came with the writing of "Because He Lives," now considered one of the most iconic hymns of the modern era. The song emerged during one of the most difficult times in their lives. The late 1960s were turbulent. America was in the grip of war, social upheaval, and spiritual unrest. Gloria, pregnant with their third child, found herself filled with fear about the world they were bringing their child into. At the same time, Bill was exhausted from the endless demands of ministry. Amid the chaos, they turned to prayer. And in a moment of stillness, Gloria felt a deep sense of peace and reassurance from God. From that sacred space, the lyrics to "Because He Lives" began to form, not from comfort, but from desperation, from fear, from the kind of faith that's forged in fire. That's what made the song so powerful. When it was released in 1971, it became an anthem of hope for Christians worldwide. It wasn't just a hymn, it was a lifeline. The success of "Because He Lives" launched the Gaithers, and Gloria in particular, into a new dimension of influence. She was no longer just the supportive wife or background writer. She became recognized as a theologian in her own right, a poet whose words spoke directly to the heart of human experience and divine truth. Yet even as their fame grew, Gloria remained grounded. She continued to write with stunning consistency, not just music, but devotionals, essays, and books. Her writing offered wisdom rooted in both scripture and real life. She and Bill would go on to co-write more than 700 songs together. Many became staples in churches worldwide. But what set Gloria apart was her unique ability to marry theological depth with raw humanity. She wrote not from a stage, but from the trenches: motherhood, ministry, joy, grief, doubt, and unwavering faith. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, as the Gaither vocal band gained popularity and the Homecoming video series captured hearts, Gloria's influence was ever present. She wasn't always holding the microphone, but her fingerprints were on everything: every lyric, every theme, every spiritual heartbeat. She also emerged as a mentor to countless younger Christian artists. Her reflective, intellectual style stood out in a genre often dominated by flash and formula. Gloria wasn't just writing songs. She was shaping souls. As the years went on, her influence only deepened. She became a sought-after speaker at women's conferences, admired for her calm presence and deep thoughtfulness. In a male-dominated industry, she quietly broke barriers, not by force, but by faithfulness. Gloria was never about show. Her brilliance lay in her honesty. Her strength came from her ability to see people, to understand pain, and to speak the language of faith in a way that was both profound and approachable. As the Gaither trio evolved into the Gaither vocal band and the Homecoming series found its way into homes across America, Gloria remained the unshakable foundation. She continued to write, speak, and minister with grace and wisdom that never wavered. Now, as she takes a step back from public life, fans are reflecting not only on her towering contributions to gospel music, but on the extraordinary journey of a small-town English teacher who became a spiritual compass for millions. By the time the 1980s arrived, Gloria Gaither had already reshaped gospel music, not with noise, but with nuance. While Bill stood center stage, Gloria was the quiet revolution beneath it all. Her lyrical style didn't rely on repetition or cliché. It was dense with theological meaning, emotional vulnerability, and poetic structure. She had a gift for turning the mysteries of faith into lines that could be sung in hospital rooms, church pews, and kitchen tables alike. Perhaps her greatest strength was storytelling. She didn't just write songs. She told redemptive narratives, journeys from doubt to belief, from death to resurrection, from fear to peace. She brought scripture to life in ways that made it tangible. Her words became the voice of everyday people navigating the complexities of life and belief. Outside of music, Gloria became a beacon for Christian women. At a time when few women held visible roles in the theological or creative life of the church, she led by example. She wasn't a performer in glitter and heels. She wasn't a token wife in the background. She was an intellectual, a mother, a spiritual guide, and a truth teller. Through dozens of devotionals and essays, she created space for women wrestling with faith, family, identity, and calling. She never claimed to have all the answers, but she always knew how to point people to the one who does. Her legacy also includes the mentoring of the next generation. Through initiatives like the Gaither Family Resources Center and the Homecoming Bible, she invested deeply in discipleship and spiritual education. Her platform wasn't just a stage, it was a place of welcome and growth, especially for young artists and women looking for a role model who valued faith over fame. In a world obsessed with image, Gloria Gaither focused on substance. "We never set out to be stars," she once said. "We set out to be faithful." And that faithfulness made all the difference. Behind every song she wrote was a life fully lived, not in spotlight, but in service. She didn't write for applause. She wrote from the trenches of real life. Her faith wasn't performance, it was practice. It was the kind of faith that endures, comforts, and carries others. Now, as she enters a quieter season, Gloria Gaither leaves behind more than just a catalog of songs. She leaves a legacy of truth, beauty, and unshakable hope. And though she may be stepping away from the stage, her voice, her words, and her spirit will echo in the hearts of believers for generations to come. Gloria Gaither's most profound ministry wasn't on a stage or behind a microphone. It was in how she showed up, quietly and consistently, in the rhythms of everyday life. Friends remember her not just for what she said, but for how she listened, with intention, with compassion, and with discernment. She didn't rush to fill silence with words. She filled it with presence, with peace. In meetings, she was often the one to ask the deeper question, the one that gently shifted the room from surface talk to soul-level reflection. In crisis moments, she brought calm, not by pretending everything was okay, but by anchoring people in hope. As a wife, she was fiercely loyal. She and Bill navigated over 60 years of marriage, not only as creative collaborators in music and ministry, but as true soulmates. Their love was real, weathered, and unwavering. It wasn't perfect, but it was rooted in something deeper than circumstance. Their journey wasn't without struggle. Raising 3 children while constantly on the road, managing a wide-reaching ministry, and carrying the weight of public expectations left scars. Yet through all the pressures and pivots, Gloria remained the family's quiet center, a grounding force who never lost sight of what mattered most. As a mother, she was both intentional and tender. Her children remember a mom who was fully present, even when her calendar overflowed. She would often write songs late into the night after the house was still. She took long walks, engaged in long talks, and taught her children not only about the love of Jesus, but about the power of integrity, empathy, and discipline. As a friend, she was loyal and wise, a mentor to artists, writers, pastors, and thinkers alike. Many credit Gloria with shaping their understanding of what it means to live a life of calling. She had a rare gift, the ability to see beauty and potential in people, and to call it out gently but clearly, with love. As a woman of deep and enduring faith, Gloria Gaither became a bridge between what has been and what could be. She honored the sacredness of tradition while also welcoming hard questions. She clung to biblical truth without shrinking back from complexity. Her faith wasn't brittle. It had room for nuance and mystery, and that depth gave her the strength to carry it. Her life testified that to live well means not just shining in public, but being faithful in private. It showed that true ministry isn't measured by applause, but by authenticity. That a song's power is inseparable from the life behind it. That greatness, at its core, is servanthood. Even now, as she steps back from public life, Gloria Gaither leaves more than a beloved catalog of hymns. She leaves a legacy marked by wisdom, grace, and quiet resilience. Her songs will echo for generations, in sanctuaries, in hospital rooms, in funeral chapels, and around family tables. But perhaps even more enduring than the music is her example, an invitation to live with meaning, humility, and unwavering faith. And in this moment of farewell, it seems only right that her own lyrics speak for her. God sent his son. They called him Jesus. He came to love, heal, and forgive. He lived and died. While the world may know Gloria for her poetic words and spiritual insight, those closest to her know that her first and deepest ministry has always been her family. Behind every stage appearance, every song lyric, and every book, there was always home. And that home was filled with laughter, long conversations, quiet moments of prayer, and an enduring faith. Gloria and Bill raised 3 children, Suzanne, Amy, and Benjamin. Each of them has been shaped by the public ministry, but more intimately by Gloria's steady hand and nurturing heart. Suzanne Gaither Jennings, the eldest, has long stood alongside her parents in business and ministry. She's helped guide the family's operations and co-written songs with her mother that have become beloved staples of the Homecoming series. More than a collaborator, Suzanne has stewarded the Gaither vision into a new generation, blending practicality with deep reverence. Amy Gaither Hayes, the middle child, charted a creative course of her own. A poet, actress, and teacher, Amy inherited Gloria's love for language. She often speaks about the intellectual richness of their home, the way dinner conversations stretched into questions about theology, art, and meaning. "Mom didn't just want us to be good Christians," she once said. "She wanted us to be thinkers. She wanted us to understand why we believed." Benjamin Gaither, the youngest, followed his father's path into music. As a producer and songwriter, Ben co-founded Livior Media and worked closely with his parents on Homecoming projects. His sound is more contemporary, but the core remains truth, family, and faith. All three children speak of their mother with reverence, not just as their parent, but as a compass. They remember her quiet patience during chaotic tours, her midnight writing after bedtime routines, and her way of turning even ordinary moments into sacred ones. Family vacations were simple, but sacred. Gloria guarded their time together with quiet resolve. Even as ministry demands swelled, her children never felt like afterthoughts. In recent months, as Gloria has begun expressing her desire to slow down, the Gaither family has responded with grace and gratitude. They've known her as the strong center of their story, the one who held everything together, even when life frayed at the edges. And now, as she steps back from the spotlight, her children and grandchildren surround her, honoring her desire for rest and reflection. Her legacy, they know, doesn't end here. It evolves. Through books, unreleased writings, and reimagined recordings, Gloria's wisdom will continue reaching hearts. In a recent interview, Bill Gaither reflected on his wife's choice with love and admiration. "Gloria has given so much for more than 60 years, he said. "She's poured herself into the church, into our family, and into the world. I think it's time she rests. Holds our grandkids, walks in the garden, listens instead of always speaking. She's earned that." Her grandchildren, now teenagers and young adults, echo that sentiment. On social media, many have shared how Nana was their favorite storyteller. They remember the journals in her lap, the gentle parables she'd share, the way her words made them feel seen. They describe her as wise, curious, and endlessly kind. Gloria's announcement to step back, offered simply and sincerely, has stirred a wave of emotion. Across social media platforms, people responded with heartfelt tributes. YouTube lit up with comments. "Your songs helped me through cancer. I met Jesus through Homecoming tapes. My mother played because he lives every birthday. She's gone now, but Gloria's lyrics bring her close." Churches have held services in her honor. Radio stations aired hour-long specials. Fans compiled videos, testifying to how her songs became lifelines in their darkest moments. And what stands out is this: the response wasn't about fame, it was about connection. Gloria Gaither never sought celebrity. She simply lived truthfully, and in doing so, made people feel known. She wrote lyrics that matched our grief, reminded us of God's control, and proved that faith doesn't need to be loud to be real. Her hymns still play in nursing homes, echo through prison chapels, and rest quietly in framed sheet music on mantles and bookshelves. Now, as fans say goodbye, not to her life, but to her public presence, they do so with a deep and grateful breath.
She hasn't said this is the end.
Only that it's time to speak less and listen more.
To rest.
And by doing so, she teaches us still. As her family and friends release her from the public stage, they hold tightly to what she gave them. And us all, a legacy not written in lights, but in lyrics. Not etched in marble, but etched in souls.